Hey, I'm going to make this quick. This is a message I got yesterday after I said something in a video, and I think it could impact you. And if so, I want you to follow suit like this messenger did. I'm going to keep their identity anonymous here. I'm sorry I had to cancel my membership. It was only $2, but I'm on disability. It's getting harder to budget what I need. I debated a couple of months because if I could afford to, I'd give a lot more. The message at the end of one of your Wednesday shows finally let me see that it was okay. I still hate it. Thank you for the support you've given, even though you shouldn't have been giving to support this channel if you're on a disability, if you're on a fixed income. No, I say that all the time, and I mean it. There's a lot of people on YouTube who have channel memberships, who have merch, who have different fundraising mechanisms to support their work, and I'm no different. I guess maybe I am different in the way that I don't want your money if you don't have it to give. I want you to take care of yourself. It is what is paramount. It's what's most important, absolutely. So if you're in this situation, cancel your channel membership like this person did here, right here. I'm not going to encourage you to cancel on somebody else, but if it's me, cancel your membership if you're in a tight spot. Here is 45 seconds of what sparked this, and take it to heart. I mean it. If you don't have the money, cancel your membership. There are other ways to support. Anyway, here's what I said yesterday, and then we'll get straight to the video. On the note of supporting independent media, if you have an extra $2 a month, if it's extra and you could throw it out the window and you'd like to help support this on a monthly basis, please do. Not if you're on a fixed income. I do not want your money if it is painful or sacrificial in any way. Take care of yourself. That is what's most important, especially in these times. If you're giving right now as a channel member and it's painful to do so, turn off your channel membership. Please, please. But if you have $2 extra a month, become a channel member, click the join button below, or go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Donald Trump has really just initiated the retribution tour. Yesterday, he signed 2 presidential memorandums, they're not executive orders, directing the Department of Justice to investigate, harass 2 American citizens who used to work for the federal government. Miles Taylor used to be the chief of staff of the United States Homeland Security Department, and Chris Krebs was the, I want to get it right, former United States director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Miles Taylor, you'll remember, wrote the op-ed in the New York Times called Anonymous that talked about Donald Trump and the damaging impact he was having. But there were some people in government who were there to try to slow or stop the damage being done. Slow and stop the treason against the country. Chris Krebs, he didn't even do that. He just said, yeah, the 2020 election was secure, maybe the most secure election we've ever had. That's all he did. And both of these guys were targeted yesterday in the Oval Office as Donald Trump signed his little presidential memorandum, surrounded by cabinet officials. And on that note, I don't know, does the agriculture secretary, is she trying to blend in because she's dressed like a couch in the room? Or maybe she's just got a fetish for JD Vance and she's hoping he would be there, and so she dressed like a couch. I don't know, but anyway, bad jokes aside, let me get to this first clip. Man, talk about a ham-fisted, I had to crowbar that thing in there, right? I am not a comedian. I'm not a comedian. Anyway, and of course, we've got Donald Trump's nurse also here standing next to him. I don't think that's his official title, is nurse, to make sure Donald Trump is attended to at all times. But he certainly serves that role as Donald Trump wanders off stage here and there and has to have everything explained to him in great detail because he doesn't know what he's signing. And so that's the role here that you're getting ready to see of this nurse. I always forget his name. Yeah, anyway, nurse whatever. He's explaining to Donald Trump the presidential memorandum he's getting ready to sign to attack Miles Taylor for doing nothing but exercising his First Amendment right under the Constitution, writing an op-ed, and now they're considering him treason or spying for writing that op-ed. Again, really just pointing to the fact that if you were disloyal to Donald Trump, he considers that disloyalty to the country. He thinks he is the law, that the law isn't the law, he is the law. Watch this first part about Miles Taylor, and then we'll move on to Chris Krebs.
The next presidential memorandum we have for you relates to Miles Taylor. You may recall that Miles Taylor served in the Department of Homeland Security during your previous administration. In his capacity with the Department of Homeland Security, he leaked classified information. He wrote a book under the pseudonym Anonymous, making outrageous claims both about your administration and about others in it. What this presidential memorandum is going to do, one, it's going to strip any active clearance that he has in light of his past activities involving classified information. It's also going to order the Department of Justice to investigate his activities to see what else might come up in that context, given his egregious behavior during your previous administration.
And I had no idea who this guy was. I had no idea. I saw him on CNN, or one of them, I guess CNN, a lot. He'd be on all the time saying that the president is I had no idea. It's like, you know, in this office you have a lot of young people, and they're here. I'll see him for 2 minutes, and I assume he was in the office, but I barely remember him. It was somebody that went out and wrote a book and said all sorts of terrible things that were all lies. It was this gentleman or that gentleman, like I dealt with him all the time. I had no idea who this guy. I said, who the hell is Miles Taylor? And he made a living on going on CNN talking about the president. And I think what he's of lies, bad things. And I think it's like a traitor. It's like spying. He walks into the office. He's supposed to be sitting here. A lot of people, I'll be here and there'll be 20 people standing in the room. There'll be oftentimes young people in the office. I assume he was one of them at least. But I didn't know anything about him. And he wrote a book, Anonymous, and I always thought it was terrible. And now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. But it was a work of fiction. Got a lot of publicity. Got himself a nice job with CNN, or one of them. And I think we have to do something about it. You can't have that happen. If that happens to other presidents, it wouldn't be sustainable for other presidents. I seem to be able to sustain, but if that happened to other presidents, I mean, it's just unfair. And if it was a Democrat president, I'd say that's a terrible thing. A thing like that can happen. That's a terrible thing. And it's time to find out whether or not somebody can do that. Can they write a book? And, because they happen to be one of a lot of people in a room, and they go out and write a book, and worse than that, call it anonymous, like it's a big deal. And everybody saying, who is it? Then it was found out who he was a long time later, and got a lot of publicity off that one. It's like a promoter. But we're going to find out whether or not somebody's allowed to do that. I think it's a very important case, and I think he's guilty of treason, if you want to know the truth. But we'll find out. And I assume we're recommending this to the Department of Justice.
Yes, sir.
That is chilling, is it not? I think it's like a traitor. This is the President of the United States of America, a man who enjoys unlimited power. Now, granted by the Supreme Court, he could murder a political rival, dispatch a military unit to do so, and not have any consequence. The Supreme Court has said so. That was an actual argument before the Supreme Court. And they ruled, yes, Donald Trump has absolute immunity. Cannot be held accountable. No consequence for his actions. And he's calling this man a traitor who wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times, who served who's a Republican who oversaw draconian policy be implemented. Miles Taylor is no friend to liberal democracy. He's not. He's a conservative Republican who voluntarily served within the administration of Donald Trump the first time. Chris Krebs, same thing, Republican. Now, they're on the bad side of Donald Trump. Doesn't necessarily mean they're my pals. but they definitely need to be protected as American for exerting their rights, and especially Chris Krebs, who didn't actively write op-eds. All he did was say, yeah, 2020 was legit, no fraud here, and now he's being targeted. He's going to be investigated. He is, what did Donald Trump say there? And now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. Yeah. Watch this.
Terrible guy.
Similarly, sir, Christopher Krebs, the former head of CISA, this is a man who weaponized his position against free speech in the election context, in the context of COVID-19. This is it's a similar presidential memorandum to the one you just signed. It addresses his access to government, existing clearances he might have, and further instructs your Department of Justice, other aspects of your government, to investigate some of the malign acts that he participated in while he was still head of CISA.
This is another one. I don't know that I met him. I'm sure I met him, but I didn't know him. And he came out right after the election, which was a rigged election, a badly rigged election. We did phenomenally in that election. Look what happened to our country because of it. Open borders, millions of people coming into our country. Russia and Ukraine, that would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. Afghanistan, the way they withdrew with 13 dead, but so many killed, actually. I mean, so many killed outside of the 13 soldiers, hundreds of people killed. And maybe, I don't know, never mentioned, but I mentioned it, 42 or 43 people so badly injured, the legs, the arms, blown off, the face. And this is all because of an incompetent group of people that preceded us, and that would have never happened. And this guy Krebs was saying, oh, the election was great, it was great. Well, it's been proven that it was not only not great. When you look at all these lawyers and law firms that are signing, giving us hundreds of millions of dollars, it was proven by so many different ways in so many different forms, from the legislatures not approving to the 51 intelligence agents that worked from all of the different scamming operations. It was a very corrupt election. They used COVID to cheat. And we're going to find out about this guy, too, because this guy's a wise guy. He said, we've been proved this is the most secure election in the history of our country. Now, this was a disaster.
You got that. So Trump's nurse says this is a man who weaponized his position against free speech in the election context. This instructs your DOJ to investigate. You know, the independency of the Department of Justice no longer exists under Donald Trump. He now directs them who to go after, who to investigate. What was all that clamoring during the election about the weaponization of government? That's what this is. Donald Trump says, this guy is a wise guy. This is the most secure election in our country. Yeah. Over 60 cases were just rejected, tossed out of court because they had no evidence. Even Rudy Giuliani said, we got a lot of theories, but we don't have any evidence. And now Donald Trump is going to use his Department of Justice, weaponize his Department of Justice at his behest, as his direction, to attack, to be agents of retribution for his personal animus, his own party. Anyway, I think I could guess what you think, but let me know in the comments. That'll help the algorithm to share this content with new possible subscribers, and that is fantastic. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054, and of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. After all that, I'm on social media @Dollemore. I'd love to see you, and I will see you next time. Keep your head on a swivel. Be genuine. Take care of one another.